And we are in. Round one.
Coaches. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, they can't hold a flame against you, ay. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, got the game, it ain't no issue, yeah. Blowing the whistle, I had enough with you, the championship, it is gone. Ain't listen to you, I can't give it to you, cause you don't know what I've been on. This is the Coaches Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host, as always, Coach Steve. Today's episode is going to be probably quick and sweet, guys. It's our waiver wire show for the week. Of course, we got Coach Jibs in the show. What's going on, Jibs?
Reporting to duty. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How'd your week 12 go?
Pretty good. Besides that, ending of the Chargers, Cardinals, and the Seahawks, and the Raiders, that literally bottomed me out of the playoff race. The Moreau and Eckler touchdowns simultaneously. But other than that, I had a pretty strong week.
Love to hear that. I too had a pretty good week overall. I can't complain. The playoffs are starting to get closer and closer, guys. We're 2 more weeks away from playoffs if you play in, obviously, week 15, 16, and 17. But we are getting there. But we still have to help you guys pick up those important waivers to make that playoff run or to even get into the playoffs. Coach John will be back with us on Thursday. He couldn't make on the show tonight. He had work things he had got going on. But we're going to get through this episode quick and easy, guys. And we're going to start with the news today. So let's get into some news here. All right, guys. So some injuries from week 12 that really haven't had too much to say on it yet. But obviously, Travis Etienne had a foot injury. Apparently, everything seems to be okay. He's apparently in line to be back in week 13. Brandon Bolden, calf injury. Rex Burkhead, concussion. Christian McCaffrey, knee injury. Although they said it was just some knee, uncomfortness. He should be fine. I don't like that. Aaron Rodgers, oblique. Obviously, he missed the third part of the game last night, so we'll see how that goes. We'll find out more about that. Allen Robinson didn't even play in week 12. We were like, all right, whatever. Well, he needs foot surgery, and he is out for the season now. So we can assume Jib's next man up, Van Jefferson, or does it even matter at this point for anyone?
It doesn't matter at all, but Van Jefferson, next man up, hypothetically, and some Ben Skoranek, but it's pretty much going to be Higbee, Williams, and a whole bunch of nothing.
Even though Tyler Higbee didn't see a single target in week 12, man. That was fun. But we'll definitely be talking about Van Jefferson in a little bit once again. Darnell Mooney, one of my favorite guys in the offseason, high ankle sprain, out for the season-ending injury, has to get surgery on it. Again, same situation. Does Chase Claypool become an attractive option in Chicago, or does it not really matter?
It kind of doesn't matter, I think. But, Fields is throwing for, 170 yards a game, if that. And, even when the Bears were doing pretty well, those receivers weren't making much out of it, not along the touchdowns or anything. So, keep your eye on Chase Claypool, but the quarterback situation is nasty, and I'm not ready for it.
It doesn't even matter who plays quarterback. It's not going to help the wide receivers out that much, I think, personally. Mm-hmm. Again, just like the Rams, you're going to want Chase Claypool as the top option likely, but they're throwing the ball all over the place on this offense here. Maybe Clement actually becomes more of a consistent tight end option. That'd be awesome. But, definitely hurts to have a Mooney. But, again, he wasn't really playing much anything better than a wide receiver 3 all season. So, hopefully next year he comes back and better and healthier. Michael Carter, ankle injury. They're saying it's a low ankle sprain. He's day-to-day currently. I know I wrote in there it might miss some time, but he might not now. So that might change slightly a little bit how this waiver wire show goes. Elijah Mitchell, possible MCL sprain, which more than likely will knock him out the rest of the fantasy season. He might be maybe it's an injury that he'll be back by the time the playoffs start for the 49ers, but I would assume at this point you're not going to have to rely on Elijah Mitchell probably anytime soon. And, of course, last but not least, over the last few hours, Melvin Gordon signs to the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. Does this do anything for you, or does this make this backfield Jibs even more of a headache if Gordon does get put up to the actual roster?
It's a headache, man. Like I feel like this is like the Denver Broncos, but just with a better offense nowadays. So Pacheco is looking pretty decent, even though he wasn't scoring a touchdown. And I just want to see how good Melvin Gordon lasts with the Chiefs because like I know like they could score a lot of points, but Feldman's always been the issue. And if they plan to use him on the red zone, maybe we'll see some of that come to fruition. But I guess you could stash him, see how things go. But it's going to take a couple weeks, in my opinion, before anything pops up.
Right, and we'll wait to see on that situation there. Obviously, he's obviously worth some kind of pickup, but to a high priority, more than likely not. I mean, it seems like if anything, what Melvin Gordon does is he's going to take over Jarrett McKinnon's role. I could see that being his role, the third down role, being the pass catcher. Melvin Gordon's been a pretty good pass catch over his career. Isaiah Pacheco is going to continue to eat that first, second down because I think he should. But we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, I mean, it's just if he does jump up into the active roster, it's just going to make things even more confusing. This kills obviously any Ronald Jones appearance again this coming season. So we'll see about that. But yeah, the news is a little crazy here again. So a couple injuries, but again, none of these guys were must starts every single week. So I think we got out of a pretty good week overall for week 12. Again, hopefully nothing happens tonight for Monday Night Football. So we'll wait to see on that. But that's most of the fantasy news here. And we will get into our top 5 overall waivers here now. Oh, wait. Let's talk about last week. I always forget last week. Not too bad. Last week was just you and me, Jibs, once again. We had Samaje Perine, which was obviously a great play. Latavius Murray was a good play. Treylon Burks had himself a nice day. Odell Beckham still not signed with the team. We'll probably find out about that soon. Matt Ryan, we'll find out if he's going to be worth a good pickup from last week. Nico Collins, pretty solid outing. Foster Moreau obviously enjoyed that Seattle game when he got the touchdown late. Kind of got scared there a little bit, but overall, pretty good waiver wire week in general. So, all right, now we can get to our top 5 overall waivers here now. So let's go. Jibs, you got the floor, my friend. Give us your top 5 overall waiver wire pickups for week 12. And don't forget, guys, we are all of our waivers are supposedly under 40% owned. So someone out, people ask, and I'm just like, some of the guys we might not mention, we'll mention them maybe later. But this is strictly under the 40% rostered spot. So Jibs, you're good to go, my friend.
I'm going to look in if you need a quarterback into Mike White, and his legend continues. So in that dropping versus the Bears, he was able to pass for 315 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. I think if you're looking for a quarterback, he should be able to suffice against a Minnesota team that gives up the 9th most points to quarterbacks. And I believe 4 out of the last 5 quarterbacks they face have reached at least 20 fantasy points and 4 points for passing touchdowns. So that's a decent floor for quarterback we weren't even talking about weeks ago. I didn't know about I was more pessimistic on the Michael Carter news, but I was definitely interested in picking up Zonovan Knight or Bam Knight in the New York area. But Minnesota also gives up the Knights most points to running backs in the last three games. 4 running backs actually were able to get 15 half PPR points against them. So another play, if you think about it. I'm also looking into wide receivers. Zay Jones against that Detroit matchup. I'm expecting points to be scored with these Cats NFL teams, Lions, Jaguars. But last 2 games, 19 receptions, 213 yards on 24 targets. Like, he is the go-getter on that offense. I'm still looking into Nico Collins. I know it's tough to trust because the Houston Texans are a dumpster fire, but over the last 3 weeks, Collins has been outpacing Brandon Cooks in volume. I believe Cooks has 12 receptions, 166 yards, and on 18 targets, while Nico Collins has 16 receptions, 141 yards on 26 targets. So I know the quarterback change is going to affect that, but still, like, even yesterday, it looked like Nico Collins was one of the primary options besides Brandon Cooks' deep ball. So Cleveland gives up second most points to wide receiver, so another matchup to exploit. And I'll stick with Foster Moreau. I know it wasn't pretty, 3 for 33 and a touchdown in the last minute, but he gets another fabulous matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. No, that was last week. He gets the Chargers, I believe.
Yeah, he's the Chargers.
He gets the Chargers, who are another top 5 matchup for tight end. So those are my 5 this week.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty solid 5 overall. I like those a lot. So for me, I'm going to start off at the top here with mine. Again, these are no particular order, but I'm going with Van Jefferson still. He jumps into that wide receiver one role for this Rams team. And again, it's not the best offense in the world, but he has been able to do pretty well since joining the team after being hurt the first half of the season here. At some point, John Wolfall, I can't believe we're looking for him to be the starting quarterback, but I think he probably will be back this coming week here. Bryce Perkins, I don't think he's going to see another start this season. I mean, he was all right, but at least John Wolfer can at least do a little bit better. And I don't know when Matthew Stafford's coming back. They might even just shut him down for the season here. But Van Jefferson, we've seen him flash really great at times. He's got 10 fantasy points in 2 of the last 3 games he's played in. And I believe they play Seattle this week, the Rams. And then they have the Raiders and then the Packers. There's some pretty decent matchups there. I expect them to be somewhat high-scoring games. So Van Jefferson can find himself in a situation where he's seen red zone looks and scoring touchdowns. My next guy up, I have Zay Jones, like you, Jibs. Zay Jones, he's been great, like you just mentioned. I mean, he seems to be taking advantage of the easier matchups while Christian Kirk handles, obviously, the tougher defenders on him, seeing the most attraction as their number one. But Zay Jones is not shy of just dominating 24 targets over the last 2 weeks. This is just nasty. And Detroit, Tennessee, Dallas over the next 3 weeks, great matchups to help you get into those fantasy playoffs. I expect the Jaguars are going to have to throw the ball more often than not to kind of keep up with their poor defense. So Zay Jones is a great play. Next one, I'm going back to the Rams again, and I hate it, but Kerryon Williams.
I thought about him too.
Yeah, I mean, since joining the team after his injury, I mean, he's just looked like the back that they want to throw the ball to. And I think this is more of an audition for next season here. They're trying to see, let's see what we have in this kid here if we don't have to go out and get another running back, because I doubt Cam Akers is back next year. But 11 carries this week, career high. He had 3 targets in 2 of the last 3 games here now at this point here. And he's played 71% of the snaps, with Cam Akers only played 31. And if this team is really going to be that bad, they're going to have to throw the ball more times than not. And I expect Williams to be on the field much more often than Cam Akers is at this point. So he's definitely worth a pickup. I'm going with a quarterback here because it just makes sense, and it's Jared Goff. Jared Goff has played very well, especially last week. I was surprised he played pretty well against that Buffalo defense, but his team is healthy, hopefully, once again now with Swift and Amram back. He's probably going to have Josh Reynolds back. I think he was playing, but he played very minimal. And then obviously Jameson Williams is coming back sooner than later. And the Detroit Lions, they have a pretty decent schedule. I believe they play the Chicago Bears this coming week here. Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Minnesota Vikings. And then those are pretty good matchups to help you get into the playoffs. So if you're looking for a quarterback to kind of help you get there, I think Jared Goff can get you there at the end of the day. And then lastly, I'm going to go with JaMycal Hasty, just in case there's some more to that Travis Etienne injury. They're saying he's fine, ready to go, but maybe they want to ease him for a week just in case. They play the Lions this coming week. So JaMycal Hasty seems to be involved in the passing down enough that maybe he's worth a pickup to see kind of what happens. I think Bam Knight is also I probably would either go either way with either one of them, to be honest, right now. But JaMycal Hasty, I mean, he's just been out there and he had a good week, surprisingly, against a tough Ravens defense. So I would be worth just adding to see what happens with that situation throughout the week. And if he doesn't do well this week, you give him a cut and then you just move on to your next, waiver wire guy. But I don't think any one of these guys that we think either one of them has really mentioned is worth, a lot of them fab or if you're high priority, unless you're just struggling at one of those positions. I mean, none of these guys are really worth dipping into some of your waiver wire love. So, but these are the top guys. So, all right. Jibs, let's get over to the other positional waivers here. Nice, quick, easy episode, like I said today. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Bye weeks. I didn't mention bye weeks before. That's my fault. Bye weeks this week are the Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers. Pretty easy week. Not too many relevant stars, but a few here and there. But if you don't like, obviously, some of the quarterbacks we've mentioned, Jibs mentioned Mike White. I mentioned Jared Goff. Kenny Pickett also has a decent play this week as well. He'd be worth, if he has a good game this week, I'd be considering him if you're looking for a waiver wire pickup. Jordan Love, if Aaron Rodgers is done, maybe they hang it up for the season on him. Maybe his injury's worse than it could be. Plays the Chicago Bears, and Mike White just went off on the Chicago Bears. I don't see why Jordan Love can't do the same. He had a nice, big, long touchdown to Christian Watson. That was pretty nice. But I don't know. Is there anything you want to say about these quarterbacks, Jibs, overall?
No, not really, but Love does garner a case, especially like I guess in super flex leagues if you want to get on that earlier than later. Um, and I would go Kenny Pickett, obviously third behind the two that we mentioned in the waiver
Of course,
section.
yeah. And again, obviously, if Deshaun Watson's still sitting out there, he's back, guys. Deshaun Watson's back now.
Pay per view matchup
Yeah,
next week.
and he plays his old team. So, yeah, you might want to go. If he's out there, he's probably your top pickup right now because he has a season-ending long, great play for him potentially there. So we'll see. All right, for RBs, there's just some guys over the 40% mark that maybe you want to go after just in case. Tyler Algier, he's been playing pretty well actually with Cordell Patterson there. Darrell Henderson was a healthy scratch. He said he didn't know the playbook enough in time, but maybe he gets involved. Maybe now Melvin Gordon, obviously with the Kansas City Chiefs, those guys are just in that 45% range there that you maybe will want to go after if you do. Some other top targets, I think we mentioned most of them: Jermichael Hasty, Bam Knight, Kerryon Williams, Tyler Johnson, and then really Jibs. I mean, I think at this point is get your backup or get someone's backup. I mean, just grab all the backups you can. If at this point in the season, I mean, you're not having to worry about bye weeks too much. There is 2 weeks left with buys, but I mean, this is the time to start picking up your handcuffs because if your big guy goes down, you want to have that guy there so you don't have to worry about it once you get into playoffs. So, anything?
One more person,
Oh, go ahead.
Chuba Hubbard too. I know like the Panthers were pretty much blowing out the poor whatever team they played, but he had 17 carries last week, 65 yards more than I was definitely anticipating.
He did do a lot of work.
Denver.
Denver.
Sorry,
yeah.
I can't remember that.
What is Denver anyway? Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Who are they, guys? Come on. But yeah, I mean, all these guys are worth a good pickup right now. I mean, maybe Jordan Mason and Terrell David Price might be a little bit more of a standout because of what's going on with McCaffrey. It seems like it's okay, but maybe Jordan Mason falls in that top ad right now, or Terrell Davis Price falls in that top ad area. But for the rest of it, just back up your stars, and then wait to see what happens. For wide receivers, there's a couple guys over the 40% mark that I probably would want to have over basically everyone on our waivers, especially Treylon Burks and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Probably my top waiver wire ads if I could add them into this waiver wire show. Odell is just at 40%, but again, I don't know where he's going to end up at. I don't know. We'll see. Zay Jones, we mentioned, Van Jefferson, Jameson Williams is getting closer to practicing. It's probably a long shot this week, but more like week 13 where he could actually maybe see the field. Jibs mentioned Nico Collins, Corey Davis. If you want to get back on that Elijah Moore 2-catch game there, go for it. I mean, but maybe Mike White is going to open up this offense. We'll see. Kendall Hilton has has a nice floor to him, and it's Denver, but he's got a nice floor. Matt Collins and DeAndre Carter are just nice second, third receiver guys. Juwan Jennings. I don't think something happened with Deebo Samuels a little bit, so just keep that in mind. Ben Skarrick from the Rams. Randall Cobb. If Aaron Rodgers is good to go, Randall Cobb just seems to be a nice safety blanket for Aaron Rodgers. And obviously Sky Moore is a nice upside play you could go after. Anyone at these wide receiver Jibs interest you at all?
They're all in the same bunch. This is basically your end of the week replacement options. But Sky Moore, I like to say, like, he has 5 receptions in the last 2 games. So, like, 5 receptions, so 10 total receptions. But, like, he's showing something there. But obviously the receiver rotation is something to be mesmerized with the Kansas City Chiefs. So you never really know. But, like, that's someone I want to keep an eye on.
No, true. Oh, I need to get a haircut, it seems like. Great. Thank you so much, Fortnite God.
Let's go.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I bet on Messi to win. So just making that money. That's my brother. That's why I said that. So back to last position of the night, guys, tight ends. Some obviously likely candidates here. We think Jibs already mentioned Foster Moreau. Tyler Conklin had a pretty decent week this past week. Jordan Akins had a pretty big week overall.
Oh, God.
Evan Ingram's still there. Hunter Henry, Austin Eckler. I mean, you want to add the rookies Isaiah Likely and Kate Auden, you can. But again, I don't know how much relevance they're going to be at this moment. But anything you want to mention on the tight ends, Jibs?
Yeah, maybe Jordan Akins. Kyle Allen seemed to just throw it short. He liked his tight ends for what I watched the game. And Jordan Akins is a big boy. He could bulldoze. He's like a running back there. So, like, that might have a little something down the road. But I'll keep an eye on Jordan Akins as a little prop up.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, the tight end position isn't as luxury as it was maybe a few weeks ago when I had a pretty decent options. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Honestly, the waiver wire show this week was pretty minimal. There's anyone that you have to go out there and buy. You know, if someone was going to grade it as like a C at best this week, definitely not anyone I think would give you a home run winning week, but some guys that can fill you up your bench and maybe provide you with over the last 2 weeks enough to get you into the playoffs or enough to keep you through these last 2 bye weeks that we still have. So we're gonna guys injured. Oh, Milo. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap up today's show, guys. Jibs, I think you had enough you had to say already. But thank you guys all for listening once again. Sorry about the dog, but he's our mascot, so don't worry about it. But again, as always go to the website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. Please go check out our Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of the above, guys. We thank you guys all for listening. And tune in until next time, guys. Thanks for listening, and have a